Hi, my name is Thais Gibson, and I'm the creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video. And in this video, I want to talk to you a little bit about the most likely reasons dismissive avoidant attachment style individuals get burnt out. So, we're going to cover 6 major reasons. And I think this is a really important topic. And I think it's also important to note that burnout will affect different attachment styles for different reasons a lot of the time. And of course, nothing's ever one size fits all, but it's really important to recognize, hey, there's some things that we can recognize in our own patterning, our own programming based on attachment styles, and then use those patterns, extract them, isolate them, and work through those limitations so that we can become more secure, yes, but also help ourselves in many different areas of our lives, like the workplace, to become more recharged, more present, more focused, and feel more fulfilled as a whole. So, the very first thing that I think is really important to recognize is that sometimes dismissive avoidance won't properly self care at home. And this will affect how you show up the next day at work, right? If you don't have healthy recharging mechanisms when you do come home from work, then often what's going to happen is you're showing up the next day like sort of, not your best self. And I want to give you an example. Dismissive avoidants tend to, as we know, really rely on their creature comforts as subconscious strategies to self-soothe. So this can be like excessive television, but this can also be like unhealthy eating, maybe drinking a few too many beers, these different sorts of things. And of course, this is not all DAs, and of course, it can be a really wide range, but even other examples can be like staying up too late playing video games or binge watching television and staying up to finish a series of something. And if these things are disrupting your regular ability to like have a healthy lifestyle, then that is going to bleed into the workplace for sure. And usually what's happening at a deeper level for dismissive avoidance is they are dysregulated in terms of like their nervous system function. They're often spending more time in sympathetic nervous system mode and struggling to a small degree with like often low level anxiety, irritability, and they're not able to properly regulate and feel comfortable and safe. So they sort of escape through all these things, through the television, through the game, through the phone, through whatever it might be. And this tends to further dysregulate them rather than them actually just taking the opportunity to like get in touch with their emotions, regulate their nervous system function, have healthy habits for self-care, that allow them to have like a proper sleep schedule and all these different things, which will then allow them to show up and be their best selves at work. And I don't necessarily mean from like a fulfillment perspective, or sorry, from a success perspective, but I mean from like a fulfillment perspective where you can be more present, feel better throughout your workday. And of course, you then feel better when you get home and you still sort of have that nice flow of being more recharged taking place. So having healthy habits for self-caring is really important for dismissive avoidance, in the workplace and in life in general. Number 2, dismissive avoidants can get really burnt out from conflict at work, from conflict and from drama, because they tend to be really conflict avoidant as a general rule. And they also tend to get drained by anything that's going to evoke too much emotion. So whether there is conflict happening around them or conflict happening between themselves and another person, both things tend to indirectly drain the dismissive avoidant and cause them to feel a certain degree of distress, which if that's happening regularly throughout your 40-hour work week is going to be more likely to drain the dismissive avoidant as a whole. Number 3, a lot of pressure in the workplace. So dismissive avoidants really don't like feeling pressured, and it tends to be something that kind of like creeps in and makes them feel not so great about what's going on in front of them, especially because feelings of pressure seem to pose a threat to their independence and autonomy. And independence and autonomy are safety features for the dismissive avoidant. It's how they've learned to like regulate, feel like they're safe in their world, feel like they have a sense of control over themselves and their life. So if they get a lot of it external pressure coming into their internal world, then often they'll feel like, okay, wait, this is creeping in on my boundaries, my sense of self, my autonomy, my independence. And that can cause them a certain degree of distress, which of course, for prolonged periods of time, stress equals cortisol equals, nervous system dysregulation equals more likely to be burned out. Number 4, if there's a lot of criticism or shaming at work. Obviously, we know this is a really sore spot for dismissive avoidance. And the more somebody feels criticized who is DA, the more intense their coping mechanisms tend to be, and the more they usually want to push back and hide and avoid. Number 5 is if a dismissive avoidant tends to have a lot of feelings of unsafety at work, then this can often be because of things like just a risk to their job. And I don't mean unsafety like physical unsafety necessarily, but I really mean like feeling like, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to have a job? Is this a stable job? Is this something I can do long term? And these tend to be things that are super important for DAs. Again, a lot of these things tend to create like a nervous system dysregulation. And by the way, as I'm going through these things, there are two really useful courses like on the topics we're talking about today. Number one, we have a massive burnout course coming out in the month of April. So check it out, and you can check it out for free for 7 days using the link in the description box below. And number two, somatic processing and nervous system regulation course is extremely valuable for dismissive avoidance to actually feel like more rested, more peaceful, more calm from the inside out, rather than trying to control or avoid their external environment or circumstances to get those needs met to feel safe, comfortable, relaxed, open, harmonious, available from the outside in. And so really, really valuable tools to become masterful at, so that you can sort of regulate your nervous system function a little bit more at will and feel a lot better accordingly. And number 6, the last thing that's really important for dismissive avoidance, and which is likely for a dismissive avoidant to lead to burnout, is not doing things that you enjoy. A lot of dismissive avoidants tend to choose things based on like practicality rather than enjoyment. And while like that practicality, that stability, that security may be a high personality need that drives this, sometimes it can be like to the exclusion of other personality needs, like them really getting their needs met for things that are important to them. So for example, sometimes we'll see a dismissive avoidant be in a job where they are prioritizing security over learning, and learning tends to be something that really recharges DAs. And so if they are just doing something for pure security reasons, but then never getting their needs met for learning, sometimes they can feel unfulfilled. And we know when we have unmet needs, it produces an emotional response, which produces neurochemical responses, which over time can affect our function, our vitality, and how we're feeling, especially in terms of fulfillment and emotional well-being in our work on a regular basis. And then we'll feel more drained by things. And when that's happening for 40 hours a week pervasively, you are eventually on a trajectory to being burnt out long-term. So really important stuff to keep in mind if you want to check out the nervous system regulation course or the burnout course. Both of those are available for free for 7 days. Click the link in the description box below. When you enter into your dashboard, you can type in burnout, or you can type in somatic processing and nervous system regulation, or just nervous system regulation. And those courses will come up for you, and you have access to both of them. So I hope you enjoy. Thank you for being here and for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next video.